Welcome back. In this lesson, we are going to do some text on the bottom of your kind of bolt here. This is an optional lesson, but I do recommend, just tagging your designs in a creative way. But today I'm just going to show you a simple way to do it with text if you want to. So let's go ahead and open the latest project, and we can just save it as, and we can just do 12. And save as. And we don't need the dog head, so let's just hide the dog head for today. And we're going to be working with this base piece here. So to get started, let's tell Blender where we want to put our text on this base here. So select your base, go into Tab, and then select the little point there at the bottom and do Shift S, and that will set the cursor to the selected place right there. And we're going to create our text here, but we don't want to do it in edit mode. We want to do the text inside of our object mode on our nut and bolt. So go ahead and tab back over into object mode. Notice we still have our 3D cursor right there where you just placed. And now inside of our nut and bolt collection, we're going to do Shift A and add some text. And it's going to come in really, really tiny. You can hit period on your numpad and notice it's super tiny, but that's okay. We can just increase the radius, kind of zoom out here, may even do Control 7 to go to the bottom and just kind of increase the text somewhat, maybe like 10 millimeters is fine. There we go. And now if we tab into edit mode and do backspace, we can actually type what we want to see. And I'm just going to do ptt.live. That's my website. Oh, it is backwards or upside down. You can just go back into object mode, hit 7, and kind of see it from the top there. Or, turn on your wireframes or see-through mode, depending on, what is going to help you the best. So you can go into edit mode, type in anything you want. And notice now it's maybe a little too big for our object here. I'm just going to turn that off, the see-through mode, and turn our see-through mode and just slide the text over and then, just kind of place it with G and Y. And it actually looks pretty good. The only thing is it's upside down and backwards. We're not going to be able to read that if we 3D print it. So let's rotate it on the X-axis 180. And then now we'll be able to read it. We can just adjust it down like that. But notice there's kind of like some weird artifacting happening. And that's because the text is literally like right on top of the same geometry of the base of our bolt here. And that's good because we're gonna use that to know exactly how deep we want to cut into this. So let's go ahead and save. And if you did any kind of scaling on your text here, notice it will scale from the kind of left corner there. But notice it's also messing up any of your scale ratio. So when we go to add modifiers, all of your measurements are going to be off because your scale ratio is off. It should say 1 for all these. So if you did kind of move these around, that's okay. But just make sure that you do Control A and set your scale, kind of reset the scale. And that will help make sure everything is correct on your your design in there. So that's looking pretty good. And then let's go ahead and add a solidify modifier just to give us some distance. And we're going to go in the -X. So it's actually going to go into our base here. And we're going to go in 1 millimeter. So you can kind of see it there. It kind of dropped into the bolt base 1 millimeter. So that's pretty much it. Now we want to subtract, we want to cut out this text from our base here. So to do that, click on the ptt.live and then shift click on your base and do Control-, but notice nothing happens. And that is because the text layer is actually not a mesh. See how all these other meshes have these triangles right here? And our text has this like kind of open line. If we click on the line, it's going to go into kind of a text form. It's not actually geometry. It's kind of just an editable thing inside of Blender. So what we need to do is tell Blender we want this text to be a solid mesh. So to do that, just right click it, make sure you get the text, and then it should say convert to mesh. And watch what happens in the layers over there when you do that. So go ahead and click convert to mesh. Bloop. And notice it has changed the little icons beside it. And now it is a little triangle mesh. So we can rename this PTT live or anything that you called, whatever your text, your company name, your anything, really, anything you want. So now we have a mesh. Now, since it's a mesh, we can subtract it from our base here. So just shift click, control minus, and looky here, another issue. So this is, it's happening. The bool tool is happening. You can see our little wireframe here. So it looks like maybe when I scaled it, it may have gone a little below our base mesh here. So I'm just going to do G and Z and just bring it up ever so slightly. Just kind of make sure it's coming. There we go. So I must have scaled it down just a little bit, but you should do like this, where you have a nice cutout of your design here. Just kind of make sure everything looks even. All right, so the Boolean's looking good. So now let's just shift click on our base and just go ahead and parent that with Control P. And that way, if we move the base around, the text will come with it and everything will stay nice and locked in. But yeah, good job if you made it this far. We are essentially kind of done with the base mesh of our dog product here. And so now let's go ahead and jump into the next lesson where we're going to get it all ready for sculpting.